7:47 breaking news now. The Senate intends to vote today on funding to develop a Zika vaccine. And Senator Brian Schatz joins us live from Capitol Hill. Where do things stand right now, Senator?
Aloha, Howard. Thanks for checking in on this important legislation. We have what looks like a bipartisan bill working primarily with Marco Rubio and Senator Nelson, both from Florida. We're pushing for $1.9 billion primarily to the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC. It looks like we will get a deal for $1.1 billion, which will help the CDC to prevent the spread of Zika across the country, and of course, especially including Hawaii. It's the same mosquito that was the vector for dengue fever, so we have a significant concern about Zika and how it might develop over on the Big Island and across the state of Hawaii. But CDC has been great to us during the dengue process, and we need to make sure that they have sufficient funding to keep us all safe.
Did it help that the White House came across with a specific amount of money that they would chip in from the former funds for dengue?
It did, and they've been working really hard to make sure that this is sort of set aside from partisan politics. There was an initial attempt to make this about the Affordable Care Act and about, people's philosophy regarding the size and scope of the federal government. But my view is that this is a test of competence, not a test of ideology. This is a question of whether or not the Senate is going to do its basic job and try to keep the American people safe, which is why we have conservatives and liberals and everybody in between beginning to coalesce around some funding. This is government's most basic responsibility, which is to prevent a possible catastrophic epidemic across the country. So we're making progress. We're going to have a few more scuffles along the way, as we always do, but it looks like we're going to have a bipartisan deal that gives us the best possible opportunity to prevent Zika from being a real problem across the country and especially in Hawaii.
Now, what's the situation across the side, on the southern side of the Capitol at the House? Have they done anything like this yet?
They're waiting for the Senate to take action, and my sense is that they will be sort of boxed in to supporting the bipartisan compromise. That's what we want to do, is have a big vote. In other words, maybe 70 or 80 members of the U.S. Senate across the political spectrum, and then we'll throw over our vehicle to the House side, and then I think they would be hard-pressed not to adopt our proposal, and then it'll go quickly to the President and the CDC and the NIH and all the other public health infrastructure that we have across the country that does really a good job. Will have the resources that they need to keep us all safe.
All right. We appreciate the update live from Capitol Hill. It's Senator Brian Schatz on an issue that is pretty